Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Today we will be doing a roster review for my friend Astral. As you can see here, Astral. So just hit the 10 million mark. Won MVP 13 times, I don't remember any of those. So first we would start off with what he has favorited. Hopefully my fat face isn't blocking, it's probably blocking Taskmaster down here, but we'll work around that. These are all pretty meta characters that he has favorited. Looks like he's trying to work on his Jubilee here. Beast he should be getting. ISOs look fine on these characters, so this is a good start. He mentioned recently that he was trying to work on Nick Fury. He started at a funny time in the game where Nick Fury already wasn't meta, so there just was no reason to finish him off. I mean, the Kree, even when they got the rework, they still weren't very good. They were kind of outdated before they... Yeah, and then before the rework, goodness, they were even worse. So I can't really fault him for that. I like that 5R on the Merc Lieutenant. And that's good that you're working on Yelena. So now we've gotten out of your favorites. Your top characters are all meta. You have a lot of ISO 5s, good for you. Ah, delicious on that Zemo. Yeah, these are all basically meta characters that I would expect to see at the top of people's rosters. If I remember with this Scientist Supreme, he G14'd her around the time. In Dark Dimension 3, she was still meta. People were using her in the raids. So it seemed like she would have been a good choice because she was meta, but... You know, 6R too. Holy Knight has a lot of good videos on how to use aim. You should check him out. Alright, this is probably remnants of when you were using Silverwing. Well, your Captain Marvel isn't at least 6R. And she's not ISO 5, so that's a big slash against you right there. So that's one. Oof. You must have a really good Hydra team. Well, so far there's nothing really negative to say about any of this. One thing I would point out, I've noticed you're stopping at 65 with a lot of characters. So the level ups are really funny in this game. You need to get to 60 to 6664 for everybody, right? Level 65 is where you start to get diminishing returns for gold versus stats up until level 71 when you get that big jump in focus and resistance, which goes up to level 75, where then you get a big jump in stats for health and damage. And I think defense? I like the 7R on her. So it feels to me like some characters could have 71 or more and some don't need it. Like, I'm not trying to nitpick you here, but as an example, Punisher doesn't do any stats. I mean, I guess it helps for the resistance, but I don't imagine he has very high resistance anyway. Well, like your Axeman, you know, they could use every little, especially Iceman. I mean, they did rework his focus, but every little bit that you can get on it would help. So we get to this point in the roster where it's not like there's any red flags here. It's really hard to fault somebody for having a level 60 Ironheart, for example, right? And it's easy to be like, I think this all looks okay. I'm just gonna skip ahead here more to the bottom to see who you're neglecting. Your Avengers. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, we're just gonna start at the top here. So, good team. I don't want to see any more resources put into these people. This one is also good as well. G14 when you get the Shalian spores, but that's about it. Wow, I'm been hitting a little hard, eh? Okay, I'm curious to see. I want to see you with a good punch up and show me what you can do with this team. So this team, this is like I have a very similar team, so don't misunderstand me. But this is something that happens a lot with players, where you have these two for Dark Dimension, and then you have a weak Strife, a weak Mystique, a weak Sabretooth, and it can be taken out with an Inhumanes team. So realistically speaking, these characters should have been your priority. So that's good that you did that. But if you ever find yourself with some extra gear, some extra gold, you know, just think of your 5R Strife. Even taking him to G14 would make a big difference for this team. This is basically everyone's Inhumane team. If you manage to pull really good red stars, I might recommend working on this, but I think it's good as it is. Same thing, this is how everybody's Pimtech team looks like. These are Blitz teams, mind you. I'm pretty sure he doesn't run this in war. Alright, so this is another one of those teams where you can do really effective with it, punching up. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more work put into this team. Again, there's other mutants that have a higher priority. You should have a better Axeman than X-Force, and X-Factor are more of a priority now than this. If you've gotten them to 7 stars and they're strong enough to get the 7-star Doc Ock, then leave it, right? Okay, in terms for Blitz, I've been seeing a lot of people doing this. I'm still running Coulson here. Kestrel can go with 4 schmucks and she'll win. I do that regularly. Goodness, okay. 6R, 5R, 4R, 5R. Yeah, that is looking pretty good too. Now that you've done your X Factor, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing you put a bit more into this team. It would definitely help you. Your X Factor, I'm pretty sure you can use on raids. So this wouldn't be that much of a priority, but considering all the red stars you got into them, you know, taking them all up to at least level 71, you'll see a lot of use out of them in war, and they're a good backup team too. I put these on auto on U7, and I get basically to the end. Yeah, so I'm a big proponent of Brotherhood too, especially with this 6R and this 5R. I mean, the 4s are average at best. Will admit I'm a little surprised you don't have this at 7-star, but priorities, I suppose. I mean, he's been there a long time though, man. So yeah, get this to 350 and then you can use this to punch up on some teams, right? You can use it to take care of smaller metas that we come across. Sometimes we come across a 300k mercenary team and nobody wants to punch down, right? I wouldn't recommend using this team. It looks like it'll die, but you put a little bit more love into them and you can use them to take those out. She's in the Blitz store. If I check and you have no Blitz credits, I'm going to be upset with you. Does this team win for you? Because I run one of the casino teams where you put him with Doc Ock and you put Rhino here and then you put Division here and you put Kingpin here and it wins at the highest difficulty on Blitz. If this is winning for you, then you could stick to it. Though I like to put these with my Young Avengers just to have another Blitz team. Oof. Okay, so the thing with Supernatural is that when they first launched, they were really good meta. And then as time progressed, they just slowly dipped down in efficiency. I was using them consistently against Avengers to punch up, but then everybody started to T4 their Black Widow special and made it more difficult. And they require so many T4s, like so many. You need like special, passive, passive, passive. I think alt is good too. Like there's just too many. It's really easy. Oh yeah, this is good because they all look good. But then what are you going to use them for, right? But these days, with people not running as Guardians on defense, they're dropping Elsa, putting Hela on, and now you can punch up 150k on Avengers. So looking at the small gear, this isn't one of those teams where because every single person, with the exception of her, has something to do with debuffs. Getting them to 71 to 75, anywhere in between there, is really beneficial for them. So what I'm trying to say is that you already got a built up Hela. Put a little bit of love in them. Don't worry about that, right? She basically just want her for her ult, and then that's it, right? And you'll be seeing some big punch ups. All right, she's got a node, so you can finish her off. He's 5R. He's basically carrying the team. You know that I'm a big proponent of Power Armor Ultimus. The last 3 wars that I've had, my 5R Falcon, I think he's G14 with his ult maxed out, kills Doc Ock before Ultimus gets to do anything. So yeah, he's basically a Doc Ock killer with all those buffs that he puts on him. Right, so you wouldn't need to really round out the rest. The only thing that would warn you, specifically with those Sinister Six teams, is that Electro is going to do her ult right off the bat, and it's probably going to kill her and likely her, and then it's GG. So if you got them strong enough so they could, I mean, like, what level is she? Like 40, right? Like G12 at like 47k. The stars don't help. So yeah, if you just topped her up, put a little bit of love into her, I'm guarantee you that you'll be seeing some wins on even the smaller. You find a Doc Ock at 100k, you don't need to put any T4s in, he'll take them out. So for Blitz, yeah, these are good teams. I just finished saying about Ultimus, I'm a big fan of him, so it hurts me to see him this low. He gets more stats because he was designed without red stars. So any love you put into him really makes a big difference for him. Where's your Hulk? Hulk should be here. And then that's fine, yeah, any shield minion really. It is good to keep these two together, normally speaking, but I run Trooper there myself. Hero Brawlers. Hero Brawlers. Does this look like a Hero Brawler to you? Because you put Spider-Man and Miles together, right, for the synergies. You didn't have anywhere to put her, so you just slapped her in there. But yeah, Hero Brawlers. Okay, so I have some notes for him, what his goals are. So finish Silver Surfer to G15. 4 physical and 4 geo left. I don't know what that means. Is this some kind of a code? Finish Kestrel, G15. 8 sticks and 9 cans left. G15 Shatterstar, a way to go. 7-star Nick Fury, yeah, we saw you doing that. G15. G13 to 15 Red Guardian. 13's only a 2.5% stat increase, so go big or go home. Especially with someone like Red Guardian, G14 at least. 15's pretty expensive, so wait till after you've done Dark Dimension a couple times. Continue building Axemen as possible, yeah. And 7, Shadowlands, Skilletary, or other war teams. Okay. So, as far as your overall roster went, there really wasn't much to comment on. You have been building up good characters. You've been obviously focusing on meta. So there is not much to point out. There's not really anybody that, like, you said you wanted to work on Shadowlands. I get they weren't a big priority because of war and you're trying to do other things, right? I'm not going to attack you for not building up Ms. Marvel, right? So it doesn't particularly look like there's any characters that you've just completely neglected, right? If you are looking for more Blitz teams, we can help you put some of that together. I just want to look at what you're doing for defense, and then we're going to see what we can do for your teams. Okay, so first off, your Avenger team is only as good as your Thor and your Hulk. So this team exists basically to hopefully force the enemy to punch down with a better team. It's a bit of a shame, but you got to chase your red stars, and he's the only one who has any decent ones. I wouldn't mind seeing more work put into him, especially with this off-balance team. If you could at least match his level, you might get a surprise win by the enemy thinking, oh, I can take this out with these puny chumps, and then not being able to break free from this vicious cycle here. In regards to this team, I mean, you got a 5R, a 4R. Yeah, it's the same thing. You don't want to over-invest in a team that you don't have the red stars, especially when they're not going to help you with any other content. I would recommend you change these ISOs around. I would say to you, do Skirmisher, Healer, Striker, Striker, Striker. I get why you gave him Skirmisher because of all the follow-up attacks that he gets, but consider that she's going to put shield on everybody and she's going to counter everybody. She's regularly going to be putting Skirmishers, and it's nice to have as many Strikers as you can out there. You could also run them both with Skirmisher and then put Striker on her. That's a little bit more aggressive, but I personally think that works. Try it out in Blitz and see how it works. If it doesn't, then stick with what you're doing. Alright, I saw that you were farming Taskmaster. You should be farming Merc Lieutenant as well. Considering how long he's been in the game, there's no reason he shouldn't be at 7-star. So this team has a bunch of different traps because it's really easy to be like, oh, their Riot Guard is weak, I can take them out, and then the big Killmonger kills you. Things like that, right? In this particular team, it's all the TCP is in Shuri. So yeah, you could take a 275k X-Force and punch up and take out this team without any problems. So I would recommend that you take at least one of these characters, one of these 3, and get them at least G14. Probably him because he's got the most red stars. Taskmaster has uses in other modes, but you would need more than a 6-star, 4R Taskmaster. But one of those, basically, again, you're trying to trick your opponent into either putting too many resources into the attack or getting that surprise win. Okay, same thing with this team. I mean, yeah, finish these two off. And yeah, if you could get a G14 on her, I guarantee you're going to get some defense wins on this, because people are going to be like, oh, good, it's only a 412k Doc Ock team, and then she's going to kill them all with the ult. And they'll be like, ah, right, unless they're punching down, in which case they're wasting big team punching down when that could be used elsewhere. Yeah, so I mean, these days, I think if you fail with symbiotes against Asgardians, like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I really don't, right? We're in a Platinum 2 alliance, so I don't think you're going to get any wins with this. And I feel like you could actually get a use of a Drax somewhere, right? There's a Hydra variant team that Philosopher has been showing off that is punching up against these teams, and it uses Drax or Red Guardian, which I see him right here. So you could actually get some use out of him. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you put her with the Supernatural team on War, and now you got a good War attack that can take out a 400, 500k Avengers, depending on how much resources you put in. So I run a similar team like this. The idea is that the enemy will overinvest in this or underinvest. The reality is that they send a 350k Brotherhood 2 and they win. But I don't really have any suggestions for you to put these characters elsewhere. If you have another team that's lacking, she's a really good 5th. I use her on my X-Men with Ultron, actually, and she makes quite the difference, because otherwise she's just going to get killed. Okay, well, this is a new one. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, don't misunderstand me. I have no problem telling somebody when they put together a bad team. I have no problem doing it. And it's not that this team is bad. It's just this team, without even talking Astral, I'm going to tell you that I think that this team exists because he wants his opponent to be like, the hell do I use against that? Right? Because you think like, well, Inhumanes, right? Because you got the villain Tex. But then you have the problem with him. He's going to be doing his cock block right in the beginning, and then you can't attack them. Like, I can see it going bad, right? She's going to put all these debuffs on people. Yeah, Crystal can cleanse them, but like, you know, or you could use the Brotherhood against these people, but then you still have the problem with Ultron. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, I would like to see you with the Shadowlands team. I know you said you're working on them, so you're going to be pulling her. Skill military, I'm still not entirely convinced on. But like I mentioned earlier, you could put them with that Philosopher Zemo team. And I don't know, I've seen like, it's a very common thing to drop Sabretooth and put a 5th. I've honestly never really been particularly scared of her, but that's because I would just use a Black Order, like Toss. If you didn't use Black Order, I could see her messing that up. And yeah, this is probably a better defense than using just straight pin. So I would, you know, considering the size, I retract my comment because I feel like at this size, they're just going to use a BO anyway. So there's probably no point in investing into Strife. Okay, and to finish off with his War Offense teams, just to go over this quickly, this is looking great. I don't see anything you could do there. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You do have a lot of war options, but I really feel that you would be helping yourself quite a bit if you took my suggestion here and you put Hela in, and if you looked at this Power Armor team. Even Power Armor Ultron, Power Armor Ultimus can definitely make that team work. And you do actually have really good red stars on this team. They can be used to fight Emma Marauders, so that might be actually something to consider for you, especially when you get them all to 7-star. It's really easy to find Emma teams around 400, 450 that nobody wants to attack because it's a bit of a punch down. But since you're already working on the meta, all my advice to you basically is to prioritize finishing up your Axemen and your Shadowlands like you mentioned. I think that in regards to the list that you gave me, your Silver Surfer already looks good, as well as your Kestrel and Shatterstar. This team can take out basically everything that you need it to. Yes, I'm aware that somebody could have a 900k Black Order, and this team is not going to win against a 900k Black Order, but we don't come across that in our wars. I don't think we have, and if we did, we have people that have 700, 800k Black Orders that would take it out anyway. So I think that you could leave these guys alone for now and start rounding out some of your other teams to give you more options. So like I mentioned with the PIM, I mentioned your Brotherhood, your Axemen, your Shadowlands, your Supernatural. I think that just a little bit of work into these teams and you can make them renewed, is what I'm trying to say. So again, Astral, great roster. I can appreciate all the work that you've put in. Definitely enjoy playing with you in the game and in the Alliance, and I hope that some of my advice will come in handy. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and hit subscribe. It really helps the algorithms with it. You're a content creator like myself. And if you didn't like it, leave a comment. Tell me why. I am looking to improve. And I appreciate any feedback that I get. But I especially want to hear positive things. Anyway, thank you very much and have a good night.